Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Oh my God, you might be saying, what is wrong with her? Yes, this is my hair and I am just letting it all hang out. I'm just like, I don't care. I ain't doing my hair today, and this is what it is. And this is my natural hair. And it can be a handful, but you know, I've gotten some compliments on it, and on my members page I did a conversation with my mom's reaction to my hair looking like this. Now this is my Vera Wang sweater. I love this sweater, but I did get bleach on it, so you may be asking, what is that on her arm? Well, I got some bleach on my sweater. That's what it is. So it's some bleach, but I love it. This is such a cozy sweater. But also I got this necklace. This is another necklace that my dear subscriber sent to me with these earrings. This is a different set she sent me from the other one that I wore. And I like it. It's very nice. It goes well with my sweater. So, oh! You scared me! I didn't know you were here! And then I want to talk a little bit about Prince Philip now. So Prince Philip has lived a very admirable life. His life has been filled with a lot of good and bad. I mean, that's what you expect, right? I mean, you live long enough, you're going to go through a lot of good times and bad times. But the one thing that I think that Prince Philip has been able to do that goes across the barriers of different people and customs and cultures is when he became the Queen's consort, he was thrown into a world that he otherwise would never have had. Because when Queen Elizabeth, before she was queen, she was living in Malta with Prince Philip, and they were living a life. She was a Navy wife, and he was just living his life, being in the Navy. They had a very normal life. And I think had Queen Elizabeth not become queen, this would have been a life that suited her. And Prince Philip would have been the man to go into the Navy, retire from the Navy, and, have that little quiet, simple life. But the life that his wife, Queen Elizabeth, introduced him to gave him exposure to lead in different areas of life that he otherwise would not have had. And I think it says a lot for Prince Philip to take on that role, that he was subjected to something that he had never really wanted. Like, he always wanted to do one thing, but then his wife, her life directly impacted how his life would be. Like, he had no choice. It was like, you marry this woman, your life is going to be like this, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that was something he was willing to do and take on. He was willing to take on that responsibility of the changes that he was going to have the moment he said I do to his wife. And accepting that and living through his entire life within that role that he had to change into for the love of his wife. There's something to be said about that. There's something to be said about he's asleep right now. You guys do know this, right? If you hear snoring, that's why. But going back to my point about Prince Philip, he was able to accept the identity that came with marrying this woman. And he was able to adjust within that role in a way that is pretty hard to do for most people. It would be very hard to already come into a marriage with someone knowing that you're going to have certain things that you're going to, have to adhere to. You're going to have to make compromises in a marriage. You're just going to have that give and take. But the enormity of what he had to give up was something that most people, if any, are ever going to experience. Like, most people are not going to have that extreme of, servitude that they're going to get with marrying someone. And I wish he wouldn't fall asleep, but he comes in here and I guess he feels so comfortable, he starts to sleep. And I'm just hoping it's not too irritating. But anyway, if you could just see what he had done and what he had given up and how he was able to transition into that role somewhat seamlessly. I mean, it wasn't a big, tell-all interview talking about why he didn't want to have to be subservient to his queen, the queen of the nation. Like, there was none of that. There were no, trying to, maybe see how we can change the rules. I mean, I think there was some backlash in the beginning when he couldn't have the children named after him. And when Prince Philip, was out, he had to walk a step behind the queen, and he was always going to be behind her. He was never going to be the man, so to speak, when he was in public with the queen. Now, when they were in their home behind closed doors, that was a different story. He was the man of the house, but the people didn't see that, right? Well, maybe they did when we saw the documentary with them, okay? But in public, we wouldn't see that. So what he gave up to marry this woman, and how he did this servitude to her for his whole adult life, essentially his whole marriage to the queen, in the way that he was able to do it. It was never trying to upstage the queen, because I'm sick of you, woman. You always being in front of me and people looking at me like I'm second. I'm tired of being second, woman. I want to be the man. Let me walk in front of you. Let people look at me for once and say that, address me first or whatever. Like, whatever those rules are when you are out in public and you're with the queen, because we know there's a bunch of rules. And I'm sure people will send me those rules. But it was like there was never like this big hiccup of controversy that Philip made, out there to the people, because he was just frustrated with it. It may have gotten to him. I'm sure it did get to him on days. And those were things that were kept behind closed doors. So if you really start to look at it like that, there's a much more appreciation for what this man has actually done. When you put it into that context, you can really see what he had to actually give up. And to be able to do that for all of these years, and to live your whole life until you die, like you made a vow until you die, this was what you were going to do. And you actually did it. There's a lot to be said about that. And that's something that I never really looked at as much, because it was never something that I was interested in, because it was like, oh, that's the queen's husband. Just a sidekick. That's what he is. But when you look at his life, because of all of the different specials that have been coming out about Prince Philip, you really get to learn about his life, and you can see what he actually gave up. And this is why I think, and not to bring in the famous couple, the Sussexes, but to see how it's done is a good example, because you want to really see how bad and how wrong what Meghan has done with Harry by marrying into this family and doing things completely opposite than how Philip actually did it. And then maybe people can start to see, no, well, that was wrong what she did. Like, what Meghan did was wrong, because you can see the good example of how it should have been done. And what I find so intriguing is that Philip, he had the much more extreme example or way of doing it, because he was actually marrying the woman who was head of state. Harry, he's the spare. So like, he's not that high up. So giving up certain things to marry Harry is not going to be an equivalent of marrying someone of the queen's stature. So Prince Philip, he had so much more to overcome. And not only that, he is a man, and he essentially had to give that up in his public life. So that must have been pretty difficult, I think, for him. And to see how Meghan came into it Now, she claims to have the racial component, but I beg to differ that she even really had that component. But let's just say she's had that component. Let's say Harry married a woman that had hair like this. Okay? Then she would have had a lot more to overcome, because the racism would have been a lot more bam in your face, because like, you black. It's not like, oh, go get your mama and then people know you black. No, they look at you and they see you black. Okay, so let's say she had that. She at the same time was not on this pedestal of being married to someone who was head of state. Okay. So when you have the example like this with Meghan, and you see how she has been very anti, all the things about the royal family and having these claims of racism, rather than, looking at, what it was that she was marrying into, the institution of this crown, of this head of state family, seeing that you had to mold yourself into this new position. And if anything, give it some time. I could see if she was struggling for years and just like, I can't take it. These people, they so racist and blah, 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 blah. Like, okay. Then people have been like, okay, I'm glad she left. She needed to leave. Like they were doing her wrong. But that wasn't the situation. It was just like, she would get some backlash. I'm leaving. People racist. I'm leaving. I can't take it. It's too much. I gotta go. So let's just say she had to put up with that. Where is the commitment to what you married into? Where is the commitment to show you have really tried to persevere? Prince Philip, we know what he's been able to accomplish. And we can see that is the example. And it's one of the examples that I think is the best to kind of highlight how we need to look at people that marry into the royal family. It should be done the way Prince Philip did it. I think it can show a good example, and that's always good to have a benchmark to say, okay, this is the standard. This is what you're getting ready to do. Live up to it. Because we know Meghan wasn't able to. But I want to go back to something else that Prince Philip has done that I think is also a good thing. And we know that when someone is alive, they have their controversies. Everyone has their good and bad, right? Because we're human, we make mistakes. Using teachable moments, I want to use this as a way to show how his life has been able to teach a lot of people, especially young people. Now, we know that he had this award that he created.
The Duke of Edinburgh's award is widely recognized as the world's leading youth achievement award. It is designed to challenge young people between the ages of 14 and 24 to attain standards of achievement and endeavor in a wide variety of active sports, to serve their communities, experience adventure, and to develop and learn outside the classroom.
And he's left this legacy, and I think it's a great thing for young people to do because, they are our future, and he's left some good in the world. And you have to look at that and say, well done, well done. And for me, he'd said it all with his example and how he has come into his life as a consort to the Queen, and by the work that he has contributed to with the nonprofits and charities that he has worked with, and by this information and award that he created while he was alive. So I just wanted to give a special tribute to Prince Philip and all the work that he has done, and to see how we can use his life lived as a teachable moment, and how he has set this great example for us young people, especially, to try to thrive for, learning basic skills that can help them in life. And then also for those people who have the chance and opportunity to marry into privilege, into a royal family, how to behave. He's got the example. He said it. and the rest is history.